This episode of The Payload is brought to you in partnership with Legion by Lenovo and Intel. Find out more about Legion by Lenovo on Facebook and Twitter at Legion by Lenovo. Enjoy the show? Support The Payload on Patreon for exclusive content, access to game nights and giveaways, and more. Head on over to patreon.com/Payload Podcast to find out how you can get involved. Join our Discord community, find new friends, review VODs, and discuss esports and strategy on our Payload Podcast Discord at discord.me/Payload Podcast.
The podcast for heroes in the world of Overwatch. This is The Payload.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 69 of The Payload. We're an Overwatch podcast from blizzpro.com. Today is, what day is it
June
today?
2nd.
June 2nd, 2017 from Studio 5, finally, here in Denver, Colorado. That's right, it's Studio 5. I'm John Horseman. With me, of course, is the crew. We've got the whole crew back this week. First, let's head on over to Placementsville, California with Rosh. Hey, Rosh.
That's actually pretty accurate because I have yet to finish my placements on all 9 of my accounts. So I am swarming in Placementsville this season. It's good to be here. It's good to be back. I had a really good birthday yesterday, so that's why we are coming at you on a Friday instead of a Thursday this week, which I super appreciate. But I am glad to be recording the show this week, so I'm excited to get into all the news.
Awesome.
As the kids run outside my window.
I was like, someone's dying or something.
I was worried about someone being
normally
need medical
I mute
attention.
my mic when that happens, but it just happened to be in the middle of
Right
me
when you
speaking.
were talking, yeah.
yeah.
Rosh,
Oh,
I
my
heard,
goodness.
so your chat was hanging out in my chat today on my stream, and they told me.
Oh no.
So I heard Lizzie Boo. Lizzie Boo is a thing now. Is that?
So
Oh
it's
no.
not a thing. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. I've never heard that
right.
name in my life.
Lizzie
Never
Boo,
heard
it's
that
good to
name.
have you back from Camarillo, California. It's Jimmy Bloxham. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, always good to be on the payload, even if it's on Friday. It's always good to be talking about Overwatch stuff. And holy smokes, we have tons to talk about this week.
We do. We definitely do.
Jeez, it's really
And
cool.
it's-
I'm glad we got a new PTR patch, and there's some really cool stuff in there.
Yeah, it's I can't wait to dive into it. So let's do that. But before we do, let's jump in, talk about our weeks. Before we do that, though, I know there was a couple of bumpers at the beginning of the show, but I just want to reiterate: our Discord be cool, our Discord be poppin'. Head on over
No.
now. Something dropping. Anyways, so head on
If
over
you
to
want
Discord.
hey, John, if you really want to be hipping with it, you gotta get one of these.
Oh my gosh, you have a fidget spinner.
I just
For
removed him from the
everybody.
call. Sorry to everybody on the video side of things. Jimmy's gone. He couldn't make it. He's got like dementia and something else, and he's not going to be able to make it this week. So
Watch him just not come back.
Did
Oh,
you
there he
really?
is.
I really, my new thing is hanging up on people on the show when they're being, people with fidget spinners. Yikes.
Oh man.
So yeah. Anyways, our Discord and our new Patreon perks are live now too. So if you want to get access to special episodes, patron game nights and stuff like that, head over to patreon.com/Payload Podcast. Find out how you can get involved. All right. So we do have quite a bit going on this week. Rosh, what's been going on with your week in Overwatch?
Well, basically, I got another Smurf account, so I've been leveling that character. I think it's up to level 18, but this time I'm doing 1 through 25 myself, so I'm not even claiming to use the easy way out. I'm doing this, and this account is actually my Ana and Zenyatta only account. I'm not letting myself play Mercy on this account. I don't think I'll let myself play Lucio, but if I get into a game where I just have to pick the Lucio, I might do it. But I'm really trying to branch out onto other supports, and there has been a new meme in my channel that says it's time for Rosh. It's time to watch Rosh shoot some air. So thank you so much, guys, for that. It feels really supportive on learning my Ana, but I do feel like I'm getting a lot better. So it'll be really cool to try. My goal for this season, I don't think we've actually talked about goals for where we want to end up these seasons, but for this season, I want to at least hit Masters on the Ana/Zenyatta only account. So it'll be pretty cool to bring in a new perspective on that account. But I've been doing that. I also did 3 or 4 placements on my main account, and I think I'm like 1 in 3. So I think I'm just gonna try and finish them out 1 in 9 and see where I land. But I don't think that they reset. Actually, no, I know that they didn't reset Elo in the off season. So it'll be funny to go 1 in 9 and then place pretty
150 points lower than you placed last season, like everybody else.
So I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to just see that aspect of it. So
let's just say something right now for everyone on this show. Placements have so little to do with win-loss and so much to do with where you placed last season and individual performance, that if I get one more message about like, oh, I went 1 in 9, me, it doesn't matter. I mean, don't throw, contribute, but placements, here's what I've found. Here's my opinion. Placements are for new players and for the system to recalibrate just in case there's any outliers, throwers, things like that. People who are drastically outside of their ELO range. For example, I finished my placements on 2 accounts. So on my main account that I only solo queue on, and then Rosh's and I duo account from last season. Last season, Rosh and I ended up at about like 2,700. I got placed at 2,600. On my solo account, I ended at like 2,100. I got placed at 2,000. So
yeah.
Apparently one of my accounts are drastically over or undervalued from an ELO perspective, but it like that really didn't matter if I played the same or not. So
yeah,
like they've made the claim that, you know, that the system can like recalibrate to your proper ELO in like 10 matches or whatever. And well, at least not within 500 points, I guess.
I actually had someone tweet me today, and they looked at my season 3 stats and they said, you won 2 games in season 3 and you're in Masters. And I was like, yeah, I basically just did my placements that season on that account. I think I did a total of 13 games or 12 games, and the first 10 of those games were my placements, and I went 2 and 8 and placed 36-15. And then the following 2 games I lost, and I just ended up letting that account decay, and I played on a new account, and that's all that I played that season, and I still ended in Masters. So placements this season, don't fret them, guys. Do your best. Obviously don't throw, but if you end up going 0 and 10, it's more or less just an evaluation off of your last season's rank. So don't freak out about them.
Yeah. Jimmy, hey, how'd your week go?
Hi. It was good. I mostly played Overwatch very casually, playing a lot of arcade stuff, and also the PTR stuff, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I've decided to not do my placements for at least the first week here, kind of let all the tryhards really do it, and then I'll probably do them next week, and I'm guessing I'll be somewhere between 1,700 and 1,900. I ended about a little over 2,000 on the season.
Yeah.
So based on what everyone else is experiencing, that's about where I expect myself to be.
Yeah.
I played a decent amount of games last season, so it's not like there wasn't a whole lot for the ranking system to see there. But Yeah. Also, totally not Overwatch related, but because we didn't have a show last night, I went and saw Wonder Woman, and I highly recommend everyone goes and sees it because it's a really good movie.
Huh.
So
yeah, I was at like a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes. I haven't heard a bad
Really?
thing about it. So hey,
I was actually scared. I thought
it's really
you
enjoyable.
should be. DC can't make movies unless
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan is directing them, or they're about Legos.
Huh.
So
There you go. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
highly recommend it.
nice. Well, let's go jump into the news. We've got a hefty show ahead of us.
This week in Overwatch.
Different one. Forgot we had a quality podcast here. Forgot we had a guest last week, and so the guest bumper was still on there. Anyways, we've got news. Before we do want to thank our Grandmaster supporters: Shadow, J.A., Carell, Liam O., Stuart J., Liang Z., Jacob S., and Adam W. That's right, we're up to 8 now. Only 2 slots left there. And it's pretty cool. There's some cool perks there and stuff like that. But ultimately, thank you for loving the show.
Yeah, which is actually a change because that used to be maxed. We used to be maxed out at those slots. So now we have 2 new openings. So if you had previously looked at our Patreon and you hadn't heard any of the messages for the last couple of weeks, we have revamped it. So if you go take a second look, there are a bunch of new tiers and a bunch of new rewards for each tier. And there are also some more openings on our Grandmaster supporters. So if you had seen it before and it was maxed out, it is no longer there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Thanks, Rosh.
Yeah, no
Nice
problem.
job. We didn't even plan that. You just jumped
I
right
know.
in. That was awesome. So we've got news this week. The first big piece of news. So we've actually got a whole brand new map coming to Overwatch. The Lunar Colony is a new 2 capture point map, and it's pretty cool. For you video watchers, it's up there in the video, and for audio, it's on the moon. So it's pretty cool. 2 capture point. You're capturing, I forget what the first part is, and you're capturing an airlock. If you go outside, there's a part that lets you go outside, and then gravity is reduced, so you can kind of jump really high. It's pretty neat. And yeah, it's a pretty cool map. I think the way they describe it is this: built as a first step toward humanity's renewed exploration of space. The Horizon Lunar Colony's goal was to examine the effects of prolonged extraterrestrial habitation on human and ape alike. The scientists' research proved incredibly promising until suddenly all contact and communications with the base were lost. Ooh. So anyways, sorry, go ahead.
It's pretty cool. I like this new thing. If you haven't played it yet, like John was saying, it's basically the double capture point or an assault map in the newer Overwatch terms, where you have to take over both. So like Temple of Anubis, you have to take over both capture points. But then outside, as John was saying, you go through this airlock and it has low gravity, and you experience the effects of it mutes the volume because of course there's no sound in space, and it slows you down, and you get it's really cool for the first time you experience it. And I really like it because it doesn't actually seem like it will affect the gameplay in a competitive ranked scene.
Yeah, there shouldn't be players going out there ever, basically.
Yeah, you don't really incorporate that into the strategy of how you're going to attack or defend, or how this changes projectiles or Lucio boops or anything like this, or Lucio speed boost or anything like that. And it's a lot like Oasis's jump pad, which of course now is used a little more in competitive play for the ranked. But when it first came out, the jump pads were basically like kind of there to add like a little fun to the map, but not necessary to incorporate into the map. And I like this little twist that they're adding onto maps, and I hope they continue to do so, because the first time that I went outside that airlock, I was like, my roommates told me, they're like, we could hear your reactions because it was just, I thought it was so cool. I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. So it was really, really cool to see. And I hope that they keep adding these little interactions on these maps that don't necessarily change the map. It just kind of adds a little oomph to the game itself.
Yeah, and when I first played it, I didn't even notice that there was this outside area. And then my teammates start typing in chat. They're just random people I queued up with. They're like, come outside, everybody. Yeah. Like, so everyone pulled outside and started playing out there. It was super fun. And I also kind of new is these doors opening.
Yeah.
For players. Like, we've never been able to open doors in Overwatch before, so it's gonna be weird getting used to it. Because at first I was like walking around somewhere and I couldn't figure out how to keep going through the map, and then I walked up to the door and it opened. I was like, oh. That's a thing now.
So the first time when I found the low grav, I had seen a video of it, and I'd seen someone low grab, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. They added that to the map. But then I logged on to the PTR, and then it has the 6v6 low grab arcade mode, and then it has the 6v6 just quick play mode on the new map. And I was like, oh, so maybe they just added a new arcade / custom game mode where you can turn grab off, and the 6v6 itself is just normal, where there's no area that you can go outside and experience the low grav on. And I remember I was chasing a Symmetra as Ana on this new mode, and I went through the door, and all of a sudden there's no gravity. And I was like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting this. And that's how I found out that was, because like Jimmy said, you don't expect the doors to open. So I'm just running towards the door, and it opens, and all of a sudden I can't hear anything, and I'm just floating in space. So it was really cool. It was really fun. It was definitely exciting to play. So I hope they add maps like this in the future.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love that we're at least not to the point yet where we're out of creative ideas for the game.
Yeah.
Now, one of the interesting things is with the introduction of the new map, there was a little blog post that came with it, and it was basically an email chain between different scientists on the colony, including Dr. Winston. I don't think it's the Winston. I think it's Dr. Winston. And there's one subject, I guess is the right word, one subject that is still missing, and I'm blanking. Hammond, right?
Hammond?
Hammond? I think that was the one that was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all we know is like Hammond was a smaller subject, and Winston, like the actual Winston, were the two missing ones. So there's a lot of speculation on, could this be the next new hero? So do you guys have any thoughts? Do you think that the next hero might be Hammond?
That would definitely be a Blizzard thing to lead us all believing into Doomfist coming out and dropping all of the spoilers with who's going to voice act and all of the lines on like Jeff Kaplan's AMA where they say Terry Crews, Doomfist. That would totally be up their line of work and what they've done in the past to just drop Hammond on us instead of Doomfist, and him to be, 26? Isn't 26th hero released?
25, 26.
Something like that. And I think that it would definitely totally be something that they would do. So if that happens, I would not be surprised.
Cool. So
well, one thing.
Go ahead. No, go.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I forgot to put it in the notes, but I was playing a map in quick play, I think, and Dorado. I think it was Dorado, and there are these little like holographic street signs on the streets now, and they're in red, and they weren't there before. And I wish I had taken a screenshot. I completely forgot about it until just now to show you guys. But it seems like, and I asked my chat, and everybody's like, "No, those are new. Those are new," and they look like Sombra-ish type symbols on the thing. I'll have to grab a screenshot and show you guys so we could talk about it maybe in Discord or something like that. But they added that to the Dorado map, and I'm pretty interested in what that might be. But I think that they're leading up to several things, and it might just be a complete surprise the next thing they're dropping.
Cool. Jimmy, what do you think? Do you have any speculation on the new hero, if that was it, or?
No, I don't know what to trust out of Blizzard now.
Yeah,
because they keep throwing us curveballs. Yes, I do want Doomfist. I don't know. Let's see. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know anything, so I'm not going to make any grand speculations.
Dang it, that's what Jimmy, that's what this
I know.
show is about, is
I know,
baseless
I
grand
know.
speculation.
Podcast for.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into the nuts and bolts then of this new patch. So we got the new map, but we also have some pretty big balance changes coming in. But first, for custom games, gravity, jump height, and knockback magnitude can now be adjusted. So that's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, who knows what kind of games are? It's gonna be like all Reinhardt sped up and no gravity with just charge, or who freaking knows? It's gonna be crazy.
We're gonna run probably 5 or 6 crazy custom game types for our game night, and it'll be awesome.
I'm fine with that.
It'll be
Oh
awesome.
my goodness.
So that's going on first. Second thing is if you're like Rosh and I and didn't want to play any Heroes of the Storm, well, the Oni Genji and Officer Diva skins are now available from normal loot boxes, so you can get those right in there in the new patch. So I wonder, sorry.
Are they craftable?
That's a good point too. I wasn't even gonna say that. I wonder.
Obviously, I can't go and check because I already have
They're in
them.
regular loot boxes, so I have no idea why they wouldn't be.
I mean, I can check as we're talking, but I wonder if it's gonna be like event loot boxes, not event loot boxes, but when they release new skins in the current loot boxes and the normal loot boxes. So if you have like me who hoards their loot boxes, I probably won't be able to go through and open the 106 loot boxes that I have in my inventory now to get them. It'll probably be in the newly obtained loot boxes from here on out.
I think they're pre-rolled, right? They're pre-rolled when you get them, not when you open them.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
So
good point.
So yeah, so that's going on. You can get those there. I wasn't surprised to see the Oni Genji skin because it's been almost a year now since the first time you could get it. But the Officer Diva one, I mean, that ended 2 weeks ago, right? That was the Heroes 2.0 thing. So they turned that around pretty quick.
Well, the reason they did it is because of console players who couldn't get in a computer. So, I mean, the logic still applies for Diva. I don't think that it was necessarily them wanting to release Oni because of how much time had elapsed. It was under the new impression of, oh, console players can't get this. In order to be fair, we want to do it. So I think that's why it was such a quick turnaround.
But they didn't get that. I mean, they got that feedback the first time around.
Oh, did they? I didn't necessarily. I didn't notice as much.
I remember that being a thing. And then I think this time it might have been a bigger thing because there's 3 times as many players as there were at launch. But
I guess it's more because they were doing it again. And we're like, well, I guess we should let the console players be able to get it.
Yeah. So
because it definitely feels bad to lock out content like that. I mean, I know it's just a skin, but
yeah, I mean, as far as content being locked out, I'm glad it's 1 or 2 skins a year, and within that year, it's available for everybody, and not like Hearthstone, where you have exclusive card backs and heroes that you can only get. They have a Samsung Galaxy gift ones that you only can get from a Samsung phone, and it's like,
yeah, that was fun to get.
Yeah, download the emulator. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's talk about some of these balance changes, though. So McCree first, his Deadeye has changed. It
terrifies me.
It
terrifies me.
So now what it is, the targets begin locking after 0.2 seconds instead of 0.8 seconds. And damage accumulated after the first second is increased from 20 to 80. So ultimately, the rationale was McCree's ultimate's really powerful, but it's so slow that very rarely does it become effective for anything except for zoning. And so, especially, under 1 second, you can't do really any damage. So it took too long to be charged and to be effective. So especially under 1 second, now you can still let it go early and not one shot every hero for it to be effective. Imagine being able to just do 300 damage to his Zarya in half a second. That would feel fine, even if you didn't necessarily kill her right away. So that's going on. Mercy mains, how are you guys feeling about
it is scary. It is scary. This means that before, Soldier kind of trumped McCree in every way, so you didn't really see a lot of McCrees in competitive gameplay, because if you're going to play McCree, why not just play Soldier? You have your own self-heal, you have an ultimate that actually is game-changing, especially with Nano Boost, that pairs so well with an Ana, and you have the bloom. Once you get used to the bloom on the shooting, it's just basically better in every single way. And now with the adjustment that we talked about, not last week, but the week before to Soldier, the damage adjustment, and then this buff to McCree, I think you're going to be seeing McCrees a lot more. So it's definitely going to be a game changer for the first couple weeks, getting used to having to watch for that McCree, because if you do not watch for that McCree and he comes up behind you and 0.2 or 2 second or 0.2 instant locks on you with this Deadeye, that's a team wipe. You have to know where this McCree is. So it's definitely going to be a game changer mentally, and you're going to have to keep an eye strategy-wise on where the McCree is, and if he disappears, you better find out where he is pretty fast, because he will Deadeye you super fast now. I think it's a good change, so I'm excited to see McCree come into it. And I'm excited to look at what it's going to do meta-wise going forward.
Yeah, like Rosh was saying, every time I want to go and play McCree, if Soldier's available, I'm like, well, there's no reason to pick him over Soldier at this point. I'm excited to see how this goes. I've been getting, this is totally kind of unrelated, but I've been getting McCree a lot in 1v1 mode, and so it's been a lot of fun playing McCree there. So yeah, hopefully we'll get him back into the meta. It would be fun to play him again in comp a little bit.
Yeah. Second big change. This is a big change. Reaper. So Reaper's health orbs have been removed and now regains 20% of all damage done as health. And the rationale was, usually it's only helpful when the situation is in your favor. The health orbs were. Now gains are for immediate benefit, especially against larger and beefier heroes. So Reaper's always been strong against tanks from the damage that he puts out, but you just focus him. All you have to do is focus him down.
Yeah.
And he's done. He uses Wraith form, and then he's out of cooldowns and out of ways to survive, and he's done. Now this gives him the ability to stay in that fight longer. This is my favorite change of the whole patch, in my opinion. What do you guys think on this one?
I really like the McCree one, so it's hard for it to be my favorite, but the Reaper one is really, really good, because at high elos, you don't really see Reaper, but at low elo, you can see how good Reaper can be if he isn't just getting focused down and dying. So that is cool, because now at higher elo, he won't just be able to get focused down and die, so he'll be able to perform like he performs in lower elo. And it's always cool seeing a Reaper at lower elo games, because it's cool seeing diversity in the characters that are playable. So I think it's really good. It's going to make his ultimate really scary too. Like, imagine a Nano. I know that we haven't seen this in a long time because of the speed boost was taken off of the Nano from Ana, but now that Reaper gets health back through damage, imagine a Nano boosted Reaper ulting. Even if he doesn't kill anybody, he's going to do so much damage, and he's going to be able to survive probably through his ult.
It's basically
even
like
if
a
you are
Zenyatta
damaging.
ult that's also damaging.
New meta being revealed here, guys.
And so I don't know. It's kind of scary to think about it. Like, yeah, it's a cool buff, and I'm excited, but I'm also kind of scared at the same time, because again, even if he doesn't kill anybody, you on-nade on top of a Reaper ulting or something like that, or you nano a Reaper ulting, and it's going to be scary. That's going to do a lot of damage, because you can't just focus him down right now.
Now, the big thing is, though, is still the way to kill Reaper hasn't really changed. Yeah, you focus him down.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, if he's not dealing damage, he's not healing himself. And so I think this one is going to be much more tame, and how I think it might be really jarring at first. And then it'll just be like, oh, just do this. Like when Bastion got his buffs for a while there, and everyone's like, well, crap, there goes the game.
Oh my goodness.
And then, it's like, you just adjust.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's going on, and this is another big one for all you Roadhog fans out there. Sorry. So let's discuss the meta a little bit before this last change. So almost always when you ask a pro player or a high-rated streamer, what hero should I play first? They would always say Roadhog because he can carry the most. You get good with him, you can get good with other heroes. And he's just OP. If you have a good healer, like, you shouldn't really die, especially at low to medium elos. And so they've changed Roadhog a little bit. So the first thing they've done is his head hitbox size has been reduced by 20%. And basically his head was really big when compared to other heroes. So, so they changed that.
It's a good change, yeah.
Yeah, totally fun. Then they changed his scrap gun. Now there's a lot of math here, so don't get overwhelmed. So
I know the first part sounds really scary, but I think overall it's okay.
His bullet damage has been decreased by 33%, but his fire rate has been increased by 30%, and his clip size has been increased from 4 to 5. The rationale is it reduces the hook shot melee combo. So it reduces that power because that one shot mechanic just sucked. Unless you're a Roadhog main, then it rocked. But his DPS is still good, so he still puts out a good amount of damage. Now, a lot of people have already done the data mining on this, and it seems that Roadhog can still one-shot most 200 HP heroes, but it's a little bit more inconsistent depending on the makeup of that 200 HP and the size and shape of that hero's body. Roadhogs used to aim for the head, I guess. That was like towards the head area because you'd get the crits. And now there's some information out there saying that for some heroes, it may be more effective to aim for the body to land more pellets than to get more crits. Because, wait, do we miss the nerf part? No, we didn't.
What do you mean?
Damage decrease.
Oh, we're good.
There it is.
Yeah,
okay.
that's because it was the first thing you said.
Dang, sorry. I'm like, wait, this isn't. And but there is also a spreadsheet out there that came out on day one that kind of explains which heroes can and can't be one shot. And from their info, it's like almost all of them have been removed, but it doesn't look like it's that way anymore. You just have to kind of change where you're shooting.
Basically, with the change from shooting from the head to the body, you're able to, like I said, you're able to still one-shot most of the 200 HP. The one thing that it did change is because you have to give it a second to step up to get closer, because Roadhog's hook doesn't bring you all the way in anymore. They did that, I think, 2 changes to Roadhog ago, or 1 change to Roadhog ago. That split second gives characters like Reaper, Mei, Genji, who all have defensive abilities like Reaper's Wraith Form, Mei's Ice Block, Genji's Deflect. It gives you that split second to deflect it. And now with the reduced damage to the bullet, that initial hit, if you don't wait, doesn't 100 to 0 them. They all still live anywhere from 20 to 50 health. So, if you don't wait and you try and shoot them, they don't get one-shotted. If you do wait, it gives them that split second to smash their E button or whatever it is on what character to use their defensive ability, like Sumber's E, which lets her teleport back out. It gives all of those characters a second to react and defend themselves, which is, I think, what they wanted to do. They wanted to stop that one-shot combo from happening as often, and so it has done that on those characters. But there's still characters like Mercy who she'll get half a second having 3 HP, but then she'll just die after that because she doesn't have a defensive mechanic to get away in time. So if you do adjust your Roadhog from aiming from the head to the body, you will still one-shot 1 or 200 health characters. But there are those characters that will have their defensive abilities. So that's nothing you're doing. That's just the way that Blizzard wanted it to be done. And we'll kind of see if that makes him kind of obsolete. A lot of people are saying rip Roadhog, that they don't really think he's going to be picked a lot. So
I think it's that bad.
I do.
I
but
don't think it's that bad.
Let me give you my rationale for a second. And it's not because the nerf itself to the one shot combo. It's because of tanks like D.Va having so much armor, and now you're doing so much less damage to like a D.Va that I think D.Va ends up replacing Roadhog in a lot of comps.
I mean, defensive matrix is already so strong. It was before a Roadhog would hook a D.Va, and couldn't he get her out of suit with that hook combo? Wasn't that basically it? She'd go from like full to out of suit with that combo, and now I don't think it will be.
It's really close, but
fly away.
Right. And so with the fact that they reduced the bullet damage by 33%, it means that, you know, it's doing half. I forget what the actual damage is now. I think it used to be like, let's just say hypothetically it was 10. Let's say 9 to make it easy, which means that against armor it would be 4.5. Whereas I think now it's 6, which makes the damage done 3, which is a 25% reduction, right? Something like that. Yeah. Anyways, it's a pretty big reduction in the damage that gets done to D.Va. And so while it's not rip Roadhog in the sense that he's no longer viable and can't do enough damage, I think you want a D.Va on your team in that situation now, because D.Va is now going to beat or do a lot better against Roadhog.
That and Roadhog is supposed to be, because Overwatch is all about comp countering heroes and what hero counters what hero and switching and changing it up and adjusting. And Roadhog is supposed to counter Winston, but he's also supposed to counter Genji. And under that Reddit post where he shows which heroes are not one-shottable and which ones still are, he actually mentions that a Genji can get away 100% of the time because that half second that Roadhog now has to wait, and the damage reduction lets the Genji get a deflect up and go away. And Roadhog is supposed to be a hard counter to Genji. And then with the damage reduction for Winston's, they're not going to be, I wonder how much of an anti-Winston a Roadhog is going to be, because it used to be, the enemy team has a Winston, can we get a Roadhog? That way you basically just one-shot combo the monkey, and then you don't have to worry about him anymore. So I wonder how much that's going to affect it. But maybe with the clip size being increased from 4 to 5 and the fire rate being increased, he'll still be a counter to Monkey or to Winston. I don't know. I haven't seen like someone do an experiment on that. Maybe he'll be able to get off 2 shots before the Winston can get away. So maybe he'll still counter that. But as of the Genji, as of right now, he's no longer a counter for Genji. So it's just kind of one less counter for a Genji in a dive heavy comp where Genji's already used a lot. So I think it'll be interesting. They might have to do some more tweaking to maybe the cone of his spread damage for when he does shoot so that he can go back to maybe one-shotting a Genji, but it'll definitely be interesting. I think it will shake stuff up, but people, like John said earlier, will just kind of adjust, and hopefully it's an adjustable meta change, not a game-breaking character deciding meta change.
I really think it's
like he's still like you see a Reinhardt and immediately you're like, oh well, let's get a Roadhog here and do that. But and I think he'll put out a lot of damage, but it's just a lot less of Roadhog directly counters these 9 heroes.
Well, and I feel like people will adjust to this. I mean, it's not quite the same, but I feel like it's a little bit similar to the Lucio changes that we just recently had, where it really changed up how his toolkit played. And I'm really interested to see how this does play out. I've played quite a bit of Roadhog, and it always does feel good to hook someone and kill them. But I feel like this is changing his playstyle to being a little bit more team-oriented, because definitely Roadhog in his current iteration right now, he's able to go and solo a lot of heroes and kind of pick off people. I feel like you'll want to have a much more organized team comp, though, with a Roadhog, because if you pull someone in and there's, say, a soldier or some other DPS with you, you're going to get that kill now.
Yeah, that is very true.
And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but I don't think the sky is falling, but I could be wrong. We'll have to see.
One other thing that I completely forgot about till just now is that now with the current changes on Roadhog, if an enemy Roadhog hooks someone on your team and you're playing a support and you're healing that person that gets hooked, there's almost a guaranteed survival rate on that target staying alive. And I know personally as a Mercy, because now the targets stay alive at like anywhere from 3 to 50 health. And if I have a Mercy beam healing that target that gets hooked, which personally, if I hear a Roadhog hook, I'm almost always healing that target anyway because of how much, paying attention to everything. I can see where the Roadhog is. I can see who's going to hook. And I normally, more times than not, I already am healing that target to hope that the Roadhog butchers his shot and that there's a chance for them to survive. This just increases that chance to survive. So now if your healer's paying attention and they have the heals on you and you get Roadhog hooked, it's not an instant death. So I think that this will really impact Roadhog, especially at the higher elos, because that's where you are going to get healers that are paying attention to who's getting hooked. And I think the kill rate on Roadhog's hook combo is going to be significantly changed. So it'll be really interesting to see. And by interesting, I mean, I'm going to hate it because I hate divas, but it'll be really interesting to see how the meta at higher tiers change with this Roadhog change.
Yeah.
I love divas.
You're a Soldier main. How can you even jokingly say that you
I'm a
love
Zarya main.
Oh, that's true. Well, yeah, but you're Zarya / Soldier. But you should still hate it as Zarya. Defensive Matrix is so annoying.
If you're a bad Zarya, it is, but it also means that you're at above 40.
I've seen Zarya ults eaten an Apex, so I don't think that that's necessarily, if you're a bad Zarya main, then I think it works both ways. But yeah, I definitely think it'll shake up the Roadhog meta, and I don't think we'll see him picked as much.
I think to close out as far as my thoughts on this is as a player who plays mostly support, it's always felt really, and I think it's almost kind of Blizzard's design philosophy that it's almost always felt really bad to get hooked as a support because you're just like, well, I'm dead. Unless you're Lucio and you just have that split second to boop away. That's like the only time I've gotten away from Roadhog hooks and with my life. So we'll see. I know Blizzard doesn't like stuff like this where you just get 100 to 0 basically instantly. So I feel like that's more of a step in that kind of design philosophy. And we'll have to see.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you just have to wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We do have a couple of UI updates. This is my MVP for changes, honestly, this top one. A quick summary of a player's most played heroes is available by highlighting the player in the groups section of the social menu. Statistics displayed are defaulted by the game type you're currently playing or queued in. So, you know how you always try to go and scramble and see who has how much time on what and see kind of what to expect? Well, they made it a little bit easier to do that recon. So love that change. There's also a new
more info is always good.
Yep. There's also a new all modes tab, which will now show a player's statistics across all game modes and across all like seasons and everything, I believe, just like total. And then the damage done statistic has been replaced to hero damage done so that all the Orisas will shut up about their gold damage. And it no longer includes damage done to barriers. So subsequently, there is a new statistics tab called barrier damage done. So I'm so glad that they finally did this because it was so annoying. You have the Hanzo spamming the Reinhardt shield with gold damage, jawing off. And I'm like, dude, you haven't gotten a pick in 30 minutes. It's 7-7 right now.
What are you playing that goes 30 minutes long?
7-7 in 2 CP, man. I tell you.
In Volskaya Industries.
Only
2 words.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, so I'm so glad that they've done this.
I'm so glad that they added another 2 CP map. Said no one in the Overwatch community.
You gotta
ever.
Trust and believe, okay? You gotta
I believe in.
I've been trusting and believing in Blizzard to fix doubles 2 CP this entire time, and look where this got us. So we'll freaking see. Now. Yeah, exactly. We'll see.
Oh man.
Lastly, the rate this match option was removed.
I forgot this was even a thing.
When the game first came out, I was like, what is this supposed to do? Like, why are people rating matches? I don't understand. So I kind of always wondered why it was there. I just kind of forgotten that it existed, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it did. And to your point, they removed it because People who lost rated it poorly. People who won rated it well. And newer players used it way more often than more experienced players.
What were you supposed to use it to rate? Like the map?
The matchmaking. Like, was it close? I think.
Oh, interesting.
Not in it. Was it close? But was this? Yeah. But
was it like a fair game? Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, interesting.
So, there is that. Yeah. So they removed that, which is good. So, yeah. Okay. We also have. Oh, good. I didn't mute that. We got to go into esports here. So,
this week,
esports, Overwatch
esports.
Overwatch esports. Anyways, there's been a lot going on. Obviously, we have Overwatch contenders starting tomorrow. Yes.
Woo!
But before we discuss that, we've had the TakeOver 2 tournament going on in the EU with some of the most bombastic names in Overwatch right now. So it's been a blast to watch. Rogue, Cloud9, Movie Star Riders, Misfits, Hammers Esports. Did I say Cloud9?
Yeah.
We'll say it. Whatever. And a couple of other teams, I guess, because I don't have it in front of me anymore. Oh, yes, I do. I
Group A.
Oh, good. Group A is...
Group A is
United,
Rogue, United, Ninjas in Pajamas, and Cyclones. And then Group B is Cloud9, Movie Star Riders, which is John's new favorite fan team, and Hammers Esports and Misfits. So those are both groups.
So that's both groups. We're 2 days in. At the end of 2 days, Rogue is 3-0 and 10-2 for their maps. EU United is 5-3. NIP is 3-5, and Cyclones is 2-10. So they're
Can I just say I never noticed that NIP, Ninjas in Pajamas, spelled pajamas PYJAMAS. I've always seen them as NIP. I've never really noticed that, so I thought that was pretty cool to see.
There you go. That's how you actually spell pajamas, though, Rosh. So
it's just weird.
It's one of those words you don't write very often.
Yeah, you just say PJs.
You say
you say PJs. So like every time I saw
it's not how
Ninjas in
you
Pajamas,
actually, guys, it's not how you actually spell
PJs.
pajamas, unless it's something that's how you spell it in EU.
I don't spell it that way.
I don't spell pajamas.
Because I'm Googling this.
I sleep in the nude. All right.
Maybe it's like an EU thing. I don't know. Who knows?
Pajamas or pyjamas.
Anyways, and then Cloud9 bringing up Group B 6-5 or 7-5. Movie Star Riders 6-2. Hammers Esports 1-1-1. And Misfits 0-2. So Misfits definitely the surprise here, right? Misfits not doing well was not like, I don't think anyone expected them to like take the whole thing, but being 0-2 and only taking 2 maps, I don't think anybody would have guessed that.
Yeah. So really quickly though,
going again. So what are you saying to me?
Really quickly though, for those who may not be up to date on exactly the rules for this tournament, there's 4 maps for every round. And so that means there can be ties. That's why there's that's why Hammers is at 1-1-1, which is kind of weird, but that's how they decided to do it.
Yeah, I like it. I like the format for groups, anyways.
It's pretty good. Yep.
I feel bad for the teams. That means they're playing a lot of games. I don't know if you guys have seen the tweets from Cloud9, especially. They were like, "All right, we just played 14 games or something like that. We're done for the day." So I feel bad for the teams, but it is an interesting format, and I'm glad that they introduced ties to the scoring system because I think that makes the scores more relevant to what team scored what.
Yeah, totally agree. So that's going on, but let's talk about some of the big stories here. So first, Rogue is 10-2. Now, Rogue has basically cleaned house in NA since moving to LA, right? That's where Las Vegas. Since moving there, they went on something crazy like a 35 match win streak or something like that. There was no doubt that they were one of, if not the favorite here, but there was also a lot of questions around Can they perform at a LAN? Can they perform in EU against the EU meta? They're triple DPS compositions. They do it really well, but if someone finds a way to deal with those compositions like Korea did for Apex, are they out of water? Well, we didn't get to see that because they just ran the same comps and crushed the whole time. But Rosh, is Rogue for real here? Are they the best team at the tournament through group stages?
I really think they are. Rogue is my bet for taking Group A out of the 4 teams. They do have some good teams to go up against, but I think showing from what we've seen so far, they're going to have no problem. I think they actually locked in the first spot. Like, I think they already in the semifinals with the scoring that they had. So, I mean, you're already a step ahead of all of the other teams if you're Rogue. So I definitely think going forward, they're just going to continue to sweep, to be completely honest. They've already performed. If they were going to have a hard time, it would have been the games that they were already playing, trying to adjust to being in Vegas, trying to adjust to being on EU with the ping difference and performing at LAN and stuff like that. And they obviously did not have an issue. So I think that if they were going to struggle, it would have been in the games they've already had. I think going forward, they're just going to continue to sweep.
I don't know. Like, so yes, Rogue crushed for sure. They looked stellar. Ninjas in Pajamas try to beat them at their own game. And you're not going to beat Rogue in a mirror composition. Like, that's just not going to happen. You're not as good as Soon and AKM on Genji and Tracer. So maybe teams will figure out how to counter it instead of trying to beat them at their own game. Yeah, and so like you've got that aspect of it where like Ninjas in Pajamas and EU United by far had the best chance. Like Cyclones before they became Cyclowns and lost and shed most of their roster, which Boombox is playing for EU United now, right? Is that who it was? Anyways, I have to remember. Yeah. So
it's a lot to keep track of, but yes.
he was on Cyclones and then EU United bottom basically. And so, you know, Cyclones became Cyclowns after they lost a lot of their talent. So going into it, like, it was no surprise, I think, to anybody that they just didn't perform well with the new roster and not the best players. They aren't backed by any, you know, huge organizations. Ninjas in Pajamas, they've basically fallen off since Carbon Series, right? That was the last one.
Devil's advocate, though, is this group kind of easy for Rogue?
That's where I'm going with this. Is I feel like Group B is a lot better than Group A. Not because if you looked at these groups a month ago, you might be like, oh, whoa, Cyclones, whoa, Ninjas in Pajamas. You know, like E United, you haven't really seen them a whole lot recently, but they've always been strong since Reunited to X Reunited to E United.
To E United.
Like, man, so I'm not surprised, and I'm not willing to say, based on the teams that they beat these first 2 days, that they're the best team. I think that they are the best team just because what they've shown beyond that.
Yeah, but if you're just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But looking at Cloud9, Kaiser's looked great. He's been an awesome addition to the team, and he's
Kaiser is amazing on Runaway. So like as soon as they got past like the new addition to the team and got past all that rustiness of trying to make it work, like we all knew that was going to be an amazing fit. But yeah, he looked great.
But he's relatively new. C9 is super jet lagged, and they were playing a lot of game. Gods has gone from hit scan DPS to tank to Genji in the past 3 months. Like, give the dude some credit for maybe being one of the most high quality versatile players in the game. And I know Bishop has always praised him of being like one of the highest game sense players he's ever played with. So like Cloud9, great. Movie Star Writers have been like non-stop since really since ever. They took what is it? So they won the H&D Overwatch Invitational, and in that they beat Cyclones and they beat Hammers Esports there. They won the Overwatch Pit Championship in Europe beating E United. they've played so many good teams and they've won so many times that even though we didn't get to hear much about them in like NA, like they're, in my opinion, they're the team to beat. I think that if you put, like Movie Star Riders and C9, they split 2-2, right? So it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for these playoffs to see. Misfits, I'm still surprised about. Hammers Esports, about right where I pegged them. I think that they would have, if you would have switched Misfits and E United, I think it would have ended up the same. E United would have gone 0-2 and Misfits would have gone like 5-3. So
yeah.
Anyways, so I'm on the movie Star Riders train, guys.
I like Movie Star Riders because I think Dante's really good. I think he's a really good support. And when you have a really good support and shot caller, that does a lot for a team. Like the shot caller itself, people think, oh, support doesn't really carry the game, but it's normally the support that helps with the shot calling. And Dante being on that team, I think, is an amazing reason that they're doing so well. So I'm excited to see them go so far. But going up against C9, if I have to put them head to head, even with the C9 roster changes, I just think that C9 has so much more experience and with coaching and the players. And I think that Gods is finally back into his like DPS spot, which he's amazing on Roadhog, but they were trying to get him to fill this tank spot. So I think they've had a rough past couple of matches or months trying to fit their team into it. But I think with Kaiser and God's back on DPS and him showing how crazy his Genji was in these games, I would put C9 ahead of Movie Stars, but I think it would be a really, really good game.
Yeah. And then
I think because of the amount of ties here, you can see how close a lot of these teams are. I mean,
don't think the group
looks like the outliers, though. Unfortunately, they just don't look good right now.
Did Group A didn't have any ties.
Yep.
And Group B, I think so. Going against the argument of Group A doesn't seem to be as tough as a team or tough as a group as Group B. I think you can look at the statistics and still stand by the argument because, there were so many more close games in Group B than there were Group A. So I think that's pretty interesting.
There is one more thing I want to say, Rosh, in defense of Movie Star Riders here. Movie Star Riders split with C9 and C9 split with Hammers Esports. But Movie Star Riders have beat Hammers Esports 4 out of 5 times in the past month.
Okay, good point.
I'm just gonna say, I don't know if they can't win, it's because they can't deal with Gods and Surefour. That seems to be where they struggle, is dealing with really competent DPS. So we'll have to see, but they have really competent DPS of their own. So we'll just really have to see what we end up seeing there. But I really think that Movie Star Riders I think we're going to see Movie Star Riders Rogue Grand Final. So anyways, that's going on Take TV, twitch.tv/Take TV. The final 2 days are happening on Saturday and Sunday.
I think the next match, isn't it in like 11 hours? Isn't the next match for it in like 11 hours?
It's been starting at like
9 hours.
Yeah, it's been starting really early. It's been starting.
That's pretty. Yeah, actually, there's no one going to be awake for that.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to be in Discord watching that match, guys.
I thought about like waking up and catching the last couple days because it's been starting at about 7 my time, and nope, not happening.
Yeah. No.
So
I did want to talk a little bit about the Hammer C9 match because we were all kind of watching that in Discord and talking about it. There was this really cool moment on Eichenwald. It went to overtime or extra innings or whatever you want to call it.
Extra innings, yes.
And Hammers was on attack, pushing to get the fifth and game-winning point. And they had this push, and a couple of people died. They had I think 40 or 30 seconds left on the map, and the rest of the team just jumped off the cliff and died so that they could all respawn closer together, and they were able to take it and win that map. It was really cool to see that happen, and just the shot calling, like Rosh was saying earlier, was really on point there because they realized they had just enough time to pull that off.
Yeah, that's cool. Also going on this weekend in esports, so we have Overwatch contenders going on, and this is pretty cool. So obviously, all the major esports organizations are going to be represented what if they're at Take TV, they're getting buys and stuff like that, or having to fight their way through brackets anyway. But there are some people who aren't with teams, streamers and pro players who are maybe taking breaks, who have registered their own teams. So first one, we have FNR GFE, which is Gale Force Esports with Buds and Enigma.
And the reason I started busting out laughing is because I clicked on the team and their logo. It's like, it's like corn dog. That's a wiener dog. Oh
with this Contenders League, there have been not only great like logos for the teams, but great names.
Yep.
Jimmy, you'll appreciate with this. I think in EU there's actually Genji's fidget spinners, because there's a guy who made fidget spinners in the shape of Genji's shirt.
Oh my gosh.
And they registered us that name, and we're accepted and we'll be competing. So it's definitely added a level of entertainment to Overwatch.
It's silly.
It's been waiting on.
It's so silly.
Yeah.
And then we also have Kelvin and the Chipmunks, which is Seagull, Ajax, Blam, Nicholas TJO, Clone Man, and Kelvin, with Flame, Kefri, and Pure as subs. So that's a pretty stacked lineup right there.
There's actually
Kefri as a sub. That's how you know that it's a stacked team.
Kefri's a one-trick widow.
There's actually a couple Heroes amateur teams I'm finding in the team rosters here, so they're gonna try their hand at Overwatch. That'll be interesting. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that's going on. Make sure to tune in. And InternetHULK also took a coaching job with Team Liquid, who Team Liquid has been looking a lot better. And if they stay together and find a place for Overwatch League, I think that they're actually going to do really well. He was in coaching in Korea for who was it that he was with? What are not Envious. What was the other NA team? Or
Rogue? I know that he was coaching for Rogue. I'm
Rogue.
not sure if
it was Rogue. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he was doing that because he said that he was doing it for Rogue because he wanted the experience. He wanted more training over.
He wanted to be able to network too with other coaches and teams.
Yeah, so he wanted to learn. So it makes sense for him moving out of Rogue. He took that opportunity, and then now is with Team Liquid. And I think that Team Liquid actually has the most room to grow out of any of the teams. Like, they have so much potential that the ceiling for them on the skill level is so high that if they're just given the right attention and make the right moves, they could become a top contender. So I'm pretty excited to see that.
Bishop's been doing with Cloud9.
Yeah.
He's been doing great work.
Exactly.
So so that's been going on, and should be interesting. All right, we've got like two things, and we got to get out of here. So first, there was a dev post. A lot of people are like flaming and upset about some of the drop rates for the loot boxes during this anniversary event. Did you guys feel like drop rates were lower at all?
Yeah, I got legendary in my first loot box, and it was credits, or no, it wasn't credits. It was a regular legendary skin. I was not happy about that. A lot
more classic legendaries.
Yeah, but I mean, there were only how many skins? Weren't there like 5 legendary skins or 4?
5.
There's like 4. There's like
Zarya,
7 or 8, I feel like.
Are there? I don't.
Bastion,
I've been more
Zarya,
focused on the
Symmetra, Soldier, May.
You said Bastion?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what are we missing? I don't think there are actually.
Maybe there's not as many as I thought there were.
I don't.
Let's just say 7.
Now that you think about it.
But there was also 24 epics.
Yeah.
As well.
All right. So crazy idea. What would you guys think of if they brought over kind of how Heroes does their loot chests, where you could re-roll the boxes if you get something you didn't like and you spent credits on that?
I would
rather be able to disenchant.
Yeah.
Like disenchant.
No, I would be too.
What they do with, you mean skins
that you get that you don't like?
You don't want, not just duplicate.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like any skin you get that's not Mercy.
Here's a crazy any skin that I don't get that's not Mercy. Here's a crazy idea. don't put the normal legendaries in event skin loot boxes. That's a crazy idea, right? Like, oh wow, I can't get the legendary regular McCree skin that I can get out of regular loot boxes from regular games in the loot box that I spent money on to get. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've gotten more, which granted, because the ratio to new legendaries,
just gonna get worse, right?
Yeah, it's just gonna get worse. But isn't that gonna eventually take the chances of getting an event legendary in event loot boxes is just gonna get smaller and smaller because there's more and more non-event legendary skins. So that might be why people are complaining more with this event, because the chance of them getting an event legendary is less than it has been any other time. So it makes sense to see the growing complaints.
I have a theory. You guys want to hear my theory? So in Hearthstone, there's something called a pity timer. And what a pity timer does is it ensures that after a certain amount of packs, or in this case, loot boxes, you're guaranteed a legendary. I think that Overwatch, I think we've had it confirmed that Overwatch has a pity timer, but I think it might work a little bit differently. And I think how it might work differently is I think that when you get epics, it might lower the chances of getting legendaries. So basically, the more rare the loot you're getting, the less chance you have of getting another one right after. And I think that's especially weird for this expansion because there's 24 at least different epics because we got all of the dance skins.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah.
Basically what it does is, so imagine like every loot box you open, you raise your chance for a legendary 5%, but every epic you get,
it takes it away like 2% or something. It takes away like
2.5%. So you're kind of getting...
I just wish they'd do it like Hearthstone. If you order 50 gadgets and packs on Hearthstone, you can't get Karazhan packs in the gadgets in one. So why can't you do the same thing for Overwatch?
But is that too much in the other direction then?
Yeah.
And then people will have all the items?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe lower the chances of getting legendaries from other events or the normal loot boxes. Because in a year, well, actually, no, because they're not adding new events. So, but I mean, the more normal skins they come out with and the more characters that come out with, the chances of you getting legendaries that correlate to the event of the loot box that you're opening is going to become less and less. So at some point, Blizzard is going to have to adjust this. There's just no way they're not going to get around it.
No, I agree. Also, I know we were talking about this in Discord, but it feels a little weird that you can't craft the player icons.
Yeah.
And they have all the golden icons for the anniversary event for all the heroes. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get the ones I want. I know there was a viewer, I don't know if I want to call them out specifically, but they said they spent more money just to try to get all of the icons.
I believe it. The icons are really cool. Like the golden of your class, if you're a main, having that golden icon, like I died when I saw it because I was like, these are adorable. I have to get the Mercy one. And then, of course, the golden Pachi one and then the anniversary one. But if you don't get your character skin, like that sucks because, you can't craft it and you're going to have to go a year till hopefully they do another anniversary event and hopefully it has the same skins or you just luck out.
Yeah, I get it. I definitely get that. But at the same time, I kind of like just like card packs or card backs in Hearthstone. I like that there's something that you can't craft. You only can earn by playing the game, can only earn by doing it. And there's an aspect of luck into it. And it is the least important aesthetic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Outside of like voice lines. Screw voice lines. Voice lines.
Yeah, maybe we're all
just get those out of my loot boxes completely. Jeez.
What do you mean the loot boxes where you open 4 voice lines are the best?
Oh my goodness.
The worst. Oh, you know those.
That's what I open my loot boxes for.
It's the same in Heroes. You open loot boxes.
Which rare voice lines are you opening up?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe I haven't.
Wow, over exaggeration. You are the Blizzard forums incarnate.
Can we skip this next article because it's not relevant to me because it's not coming here?
Yeah, this one
And I'm
makes me
mad.
feel bad.
I'm mad.
It's going to be on Amazon for like $100 or something like that. That's how you get it.
Well, and I don't even think they're selling them. I think that they're just part of a giveaway in EU. So there are some limited edition controllers, Overwatch style, that are going to be given away in EU as a part of a giveaway. I don't know if they said anything out. It's by a company called Artitude, and there's some really sweet ones there. They have 48 different ones, so one for each console type, one for PS4, one for Xbox One, and one for each hero. So it's pretty neat, and I want them all. I want that Zarya and Soldier one really bad. I'm not a multiple controller kind of guy, but if I could get my hands on these, I will be. I will be. But that's all we're going to say about that. That was our bonus drop this week. So, you know that's going on. We did get one email. I wanted to did I make an email thing? I didn't. I thought I did.
Next time.
We got an email from Retro Goblin says
Overwatch email.
I was going to say, yeah, someone do it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So he says that he's gone from low to mid bronze to gold over the past 2 seasons, which congrats on that, by the way. That's a great improvement.
Yeah.
While he's changed heroes multiple times, he felt he could carry his DPS in bronze, but felt better DPS were around in silver and gold. He found one of the best ways for himself to climb was shot calling, even at the expense of playing heroes he was more comfortable with. So his questions were, what do you think of shot calling in comp and to a greater extent voice chat? Rosh, I want to start with you there. As a Mercy support, what do you feel?
I think coincidentally, I think I just was talking about it 15 minutes ago with Dante on the esports team, that I think it's amazing. If you have a shot caller on your team, especially in ranked, personally, if I have someone in voice making shot calls out or making calls out, it changes everything. It benefits the team so much. Even if one person doesn't listen to you, if you can go from having 6 individual minds and 6 individual thought processes to maybe, even if one person is only listening to you, to 2 people sharing the same idea and only 4 individual thought processes, you automatically have an advantage. So keep doing it. If people aren't listening to you, we'll ask the next question in a second, but just keep doing it. Just keep going. I think it's amazing and it's super beneficial.
I think if you want to answer this question, you should watch someone playing comp and gold and listen to the comms there, and then watch someone in masters and GM and listen to what is being said at those ranks. It is night and day.
Yeah.
And it shows that shot calling is super important. And I think even and I really like that Retro here is shot calling, even if it's not particularly comfortable for them or on heroes that they're not used to. Because maybe this will spread to some of these lower ranks that telling people what's going on. Oh, I saw this happen. This person just used their ult. So that information is spread throughout the team is a good thing. And so, yeah, I think shot calling in comp is pretty much essential if you're wanting to succeed or up your rate of success.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here. And it's not against shot calling, because I agree. A good shot caller is invaluable to a lot of competitive games. However, just like you have that one dude who watched every Skyline video like 3 times, and so he thinks he's an expert at the game, there are people who are really bad and opinionated shot callers. And I think that if you're a shot caller, you've got to find a way to, A, like, you have to have pretty good game sense. B, you have to find a way to communicate it well. It's one thing, like in Grandmaster, it's simple as like, Widow's up top, Discord's on so-and-so, this is that. Like, that's what the type of shot calling that they're doing there. For some reason in Gold, it's like, all right, fair enough. You go around the backside and let me know when you're there.
You have to
and then
what everybody does. It's so different, because if you say Tracer has no E, they're just like, okay, and you have to say, okay, Tracer cannot blink anymore. Widow turn, or like Monkey turn around and get
Roadhog no hook.
Yeah. So that kind of gets into the next question that he said, and he asks if shot calling is a good idea. what defines a good shot caller, which kind of leads into what John is saying, is if you are shot calling, make sure you're calling out the appropriate information at the appropriate rank. Because like John was saying, at lower ranks, you need a little information. And as you climb retro, less information is typically better. Like, oh, the Genji doesn't have dash. Oh, the Tracer doesn't have E. Oh, the Sombra's already teleported. The Roadhog, that's a big one, is Roadhog doesn't have hook. He doesn't have it for 6 more seconds. Stuff like that, where Ana doesn't have nade, McCree doesn't have stun. That's all stuff that you have to dictate what's important to the team. If you're just calling, oh, the Lucio just speed boosted, that's not going to help the team. That's going to clutter team comp. So I think, to me, what defines a good shot caller is knowing the important information and how to call it when it's appropriate to what you guys are doing. If you guys are pushing a corner and you know there's McCree there that just tried to stun you, that's what I think a good shot caller is. Hey, that McCree has no stun, we can rush him. Hey, that Ana already used her sleep dart, you can go in Tracer, stuff like that. So I think it changes the higher up you get, and as long as you learn what calls to give and you're paying attention and what calls are appropriate, you're just going to keep getting better and better.
And I think at lower ELO stuff like, oh, we got to pick moving on the point, that will, sometimes people just don't realize that they need to move in on the point after a pick.
Shot call ever is, we're 6v5, we're 6v4. For whatever reason, like whenever I'm like able to like, that's the only shot calling I do is 6v5, 6v4. Or if if I'm dead, I'll be watching the kill feed and trying to keep tabs of like where people are.
And stuff like Diva's out of mech, soldier, you can ult this fight or something like that. One thing that I also did want to say is what defines a good shot caller, not letting people's opinions get to you. If you have that rude jerk in chat that's like, why did you make that call? That was a bad call. We just did this and wasted all that time. Don't let it get to you, because you're going to run into that player. Even for good plays, they're still going to question you because everybody thinks they can do better than you.
Gotta have a thick skin. Yeah.
Don't let that get to you, and don't let that stop you from making calls. Keep doing what you do and just push through it, because you're literally going to deal with that at every single elo, especially it's just every single elo you're going to deal with that. So I think that defines a good shot caller too.
And something I've learned in competitive games playing with friends is using more assertive language on stuff. Is like, instead of being like, oh, let's maybe try to get on point after this pick, it's like, as soon as the pick happens, get on point, something like that. It's more efficient. It's a little harsher, but it gets the point across. And like Rosh was saying, you can't take anything personally said in comms and competitive for any game for that matter. And that's something I'm learning slowly over the course of time. Is the last time John and I played competitive. We talked about that last week. That
was so funny.
That was so bad. I'm embarrassed that the language I used on during that, but it was bad. I just had no time for their shenanigans.
The last thing I wanted to add it, and then we'll go ahead and close it out here, is on the flip side, don't micromanage your team. You've got people who have probably played dozens of hours on specific heroes, and if they're on that hero, trust him. There's one thing to shot call. It's another thing to be like, Farah, go over to the left-hand side and do this so that this happens. Or like, Farah, do this. Like, it's a very different thing than so-and-so's down. Or, for me, what I kind of try to do is I kind of sometimes will try to pretend that I'm playing Zenyatta. And so I'm like discording people that I'm shooting at, basically. Because in the end, Zenyatta is the best shot caller, because when he puts a Discord on something, that's typically
it's
the
so
priority target for most people.
That,
So, imagine that you've got that and just like, target Diva, target so-and-so. And just don't micromanage. Don't be that guy. I know how to play Zarya. Don't tell me what I need to shoot at, in the sense of like, oh, don't do this or go around. Anyways, use your E. I had someone tell me to use my E the other day. Like, I'm Zarya. If I haven't used my E and we're not like saving it to save somebody, we're in trouble. Anyways, we got to get out of here. We really do. Thanks for hanging out this week. It's been fun. It feels good to be back. I love being back in my studio. I love the fact that I don't have to have 10 different lights on me anymore with the green screen. Like, green screens are the best and the worst. Because
that's why I ended up I stopped using mine because I hated having to deal with the lighting.
Yep. It was too much. And instead I'm like, you know what? Let's just make it look good in the back. And I don't have everything set up in the back yet. We'll have lights and stuff there too. But thank you guys so much for hanging out this week. And again, thank you to our Grandmaster supporters. Shadow J.A., Carell, Liam O., Stuart J., Leong Z., and Jacob S., and Adam W. Thank you so much for your support of the show. What do we got going on in Patreon land this week, Jimmy?
Yeah, like you said, already shouted out our Grandmaster supporters. We thank you so much for being a part of the Payload Podcast. If you're interested in getting involved in our Patreon, go to patreon.com/Payload Podcast. Find out all the different tiers there. There's a tier for everyone who wants to support the podcast. And as always, what's the Discord link? Discord.me/Payload Podcast. Hang out with us there. Also, the merch store is livestore.blizzpro.com. will get you there if you'd like to wear a shirt with our logo on it. We'd appreciate that because
if you get a shirt,
cool.
Tweet us.
Yes, tweet us definitely.
So don't order it in white.
Don't order it in white.
Yeah, don't order it in white.
I'm actually working on getting a white version with the black logo.
The outline. Yeah.
So
that'd be nice.
That's going on. What else? iTunes reviews, Rosh.
Yeah, we don't actually have any iTunes reviews this week, but they do help us a ton on a week-to-week basis. If you'd like to show your support for the show, they're incredibly easy to leave. You can do so at iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and Google Podcasts, and you will get to hear me try to pronounce your wonderful, amazing name on this week's show.
Awesome. All right. Well, shout-outs for the week, and where can people find you? Then, Jimmy, you're up first.
At DJTyrant on Twitter and Twitch. Thanks everyone for coming by the show. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Rosh, what about you?
Yeah, no, you can find me at twitch.tv/okitsrosh. You can also find me at Twitter at F2K_okitsrosh. Shout outs to everybody who came by for my birthday. It was super awesome seeing you guys there.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. If you couldn't make it, obviously no hard feelings. It was super fun. Make sure to come check out the stream. I love putting names to listeners. It's such an awesome feeling when you guys come into chat and you're like, hey, I'm here from the podcast. It's so cool for me because I don't know. If you download the podcast, I don't get to meet you. I don't get to see you in chat. So it's always really cool to hear the supporters that way. But yeah, shout outs to you guys. I will be streaming this week at twitch.tv/okitsrosh, so you can find me there.
Awesome. As for me, same thing. Streaming a lot, twitch.tv/KickedTripod, and on Twitter at KickedTripod as well. And also, if you're in our Discord, there's a channel that's just stream updates. So every time a host goes live, it just lets you know right in there, so you can tune into the stream right from that Discord channel. So it's pretty neat. And I hit 800 followers on Twitch this week. So that was pretty cool. Getting close to 1,000. My goal is in the next 60 days to get there. So
are you doing a 24-hour stream at 1,000? Oh, you heard it here first, folks.
I know.
24 stream
wow.
at 1,000.
24
there you
half-hour streams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's going on there. And yeah, let's get out of here. This thing is going to end. I just need to put these all on the back. There we go.
Goodbye.
Anyways, thanks for tuning in for episode 69. Email us at thepayload@blizzpro.com. Follow us on Twitter at Payload Podcast. And make sure to leave a 5-star iTunes review. We'd really appreciate it. This has been episode 69. See ya.